Hey there, my name is Taylor Walden. I'm the owner of Radiate Prints and the host of the Shop Talk with Radiate Prints podcast. This week, I have on one of the Greenville Pitt County Chamber of Commerce Small Business Leader of the Year finalists, Kellie Brown. Kellie came on to talk about her business, Advantage Therapy Solutions. Kellie was in a car accident and experienced an injury that she couldn't seem to quite get relief from. And when she finally went to a neighboring town, she experienced laser light therapy and loved it so much that she started her very own business right here in Greenville doing it. Kellie talks to us about hiring her first employee many years ago and how she's grown her office locally to offer other different services and how she has been able to reach national customers all over the country despite just being a local office here in Greenville and how she's been able to expand. I think you're really going to enjoy this episode, so let's tune in.
But then when so this was probably 2006, around the time I had my first daughter. I'm a fiddle player. I've played my first band. I was 8. I had a little kid band when I was little. I love music.
That's
I love
cool.
to sing. So I was in a band called Jupiter Jones for a little more than 10 years.
And this started when you had your first child?
So yes, I was in Spare Change first, which is from a band out of Kinston, for 3 years. And then Jupiter Jones, we started Jupiter Jones when I had my middle daughter. So
Okay.
I left for very quick maternity, and we played every weekend. So I was able to stay home with my 3 girls and
awesome.
be pretty much a full-time mom, but then played every weekend for
That's cool.
many years. It was
played
so
the
much
fiddle?
fun. Mhm.
Awesome. So where would you guys play?
So in those years, it was a lot of clubs and festivals,
Okay.
all of the, the little series in the parks and the things like that, and corporate events. So we did a lot of wedding receptions and a lot of, business parties and stuff and clubs. We played that whole circuit of, all the, I don't even remember what that one in Kinston is that we played forever, but that got really difficult late once I had Reagan. So we stopped playing clubs and really focused more on corporate and wedding for the last many years. So it was probably half and half, I guess. But
Yeah.
so fun. Learned a lot about people during those years. But then I was in a car accident.
Oh my gosh.
And that is where we really just worked hard to find a natural recovery because nothing else was working. I did go the traditional medicine route. So basically I had a ton of arthritis build up in my spine. Okay. Structurally, it was fine, just pain. So I was taking 4 Advil 4 times a day.
Wow.
I didn't want to get on any narcotics or anything, but I was in so much pain. I couldn't play at all. I had to dose a lot. I would just keep my pockets full of Advil, and my range of motion was very limited. Being a mom and trying to play, it was just impossible. And so I was just taking NSAIDs all the time. The technology, which is called Photobiomodulation, is a big word. We call it PBM or light therapy or laser therapy. It's basically how your body reacts and responds to those specific light wavelengths. Kind of a general overview. They're using it with autistic kids, brain injuries, all kinds of things. So,
when did that first come about?
Photobiomodulation, PBM, light therapy, there's so many different terms for it. Cold laser therapy, low-level laser therapy, or light therapy. It has been around for about 60 to 70 years now and published in medical literature. It just was too expensive. So a lot of athletes used it. The astronauts used it that used to, for starting in the 90s, they'll take panels up and for healing, and it reduces bone density loss and all that. In Goldsboro, he had these therapies there, which is how it started. And I read about it, and I thought, okay, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. That's really the main culprit here. And within 2 months, I was pretty much fully recovered.
Wow.
I had so I would need therapy. I drove there in the morning, and I would lay in this box. Looks like a tanning bed, but it's all, healthy wavelengths that repair, not UV rays. And I would go do a treatment and come back before it was time to take my kids to preschool. So I did that 3 times a week for about 2 months.
Okay.
And it did take that long because it was a chronic built up inflammatory response. But I literally did nothing else. And I thought, we have to have this here. You have to bring it to Greenville. And he said, no, I don't have time. You can do that.
Yeah.
So we did it together, and he was really involved the first couple years, but now he's pretty much a silent partner, and I have an amazing team. And it's just the research has grown and grown. Still, I mean, I just read 2 more research articles this morning that are, specific to different types of repair and recovery, whether it's soft tissue or anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
So cool.
I guess and I'm just a novice in all of this. Like I know nothing. So what are some typical scenarios when someone would seek out like light therapy?
My favorite and what's most tried and true is the anti-inflammatory effect. So if you have an itis, plantar fasciitis, arthritis, epicondylitis, which is like tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, any inflammatory response in your body is supposed to be a good thing unless it lingers. Yeah. And so light therapy reduces your inflammatory markers. It's like a healthy Advil. So it's been published a million different ways to reduce inflammation, and that's often what is causing pain. Right. So it's pain relieving there's an analgesic component as well, but mainly it's getting to the root of the problem. Okay. And it also heals soft tissue in about half the time your body will naturally. It just kind of expedites that process, as well as creating new nerve regeneration, which is really cool. Like people with neuropathy or any other nerve disorder, it can both inhibit the nerve to reduce pain and increase more nerve growth if the nerve's damaged and it needs that support.
That's really cool. Mm-hmm. So you experienced this for yourself and, had the idea, I guess, of bringing it to Greenville. What did that look like?
Gosh, I remember telling my kids, Mommy's going to work for a few hours while you're in school. That was the goal. And then, I didn't know what I was getting into. I just went one day at a time. And all I still care about is helping people. I did not have a clue what running a business would look like. I didn't, I didn't look at other people and say, I want to do that. That was never, it's still, I need people like you guys in C12 and others around me to say, this is how you do the business part of it. But I really think that was one of the biggest things I learned by starting a business that you cannot run yourself. I'm good at the clinical aspect. I am good at, finding people who are better than me at all these things. Like in the beginning, you have to do it alone, right? Yeah. You have to kind of figure out, this is a new thing that is essential to the business. But being really vulnerable and transparent and finding those strengths in other people more quickly rather than thinking you have to figure it all out first is probably the only thing that helped us really scale.
When did you start it here?
In 2017, late 17.
So you're like 8 years?
Yes, 8 years in.
It's going to be 9 years in? Because 2026
It was
now.
8 in November.
Okay.
This past November.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. It feels like 80 and 8 minutes all in the same. It's been wild, but so
did you start with just you? Or what role did
just me. And the first hire I made was my mom friend, Alita Lee. I don't know if you know Alita. She owns a business now called Webmomster, and she runs our website. Awesome. She started it from scratch, when we didn't even know how to use a website, and just became an expert. She's incredible. So if you have website needs, shout out to Alita. We were just Montessori moms doing carpool together, and I thought, I don't know how to hire. I don't know what to look for, but I know that I've seen her overcome things. I've seen her parent. And I thought, what more can you ask for in a first employee? So she actually she was admin, and then she became certified as a laser therapist. Awesome. And then she was our patient liaison person. Like, she did so many different roles in the company before she moved into
I feel like that
web
first
design.
Employee wears a lot of hats.
Absolutely. And we just learned together, and then hired together and learned how to put the right people on the bus. And, I just read all the entrepreneur books. And
what were some of your favorite books that you read?
I like Entre Leadership. The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni has been our work Bible. And just a lot of, honestly, learning personality tests like the Working Genius and the Enneagram, I think has been the most helpful, because there are so many, like I was saying before, there's so many things that you can't know when you hire.
Yeah.
And so just getting integrity in the building and then learning, not I'm going to tell you what I need you to do. We're not hiring you specific. You have to do a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But learning what, how you work well, what position are you going to be on the team, what do you love doing, and not working in your frustrations.
Yeah.
That is just so important. So
we did a disc training at our office. So they Pitt Community College actually has a program where they can work with businesses. They can even work with yours, and they offer you can get free training, like the state pays for it.
Oh, that's great.
So
we've never done disc actually.
Mm-hmm.
Most people have before at some point, but
I used to think it was kind of like an older model. But after we did the training, we really enjoyed it, and all of our staff actually really liked it. Even though I had some hesitations because we had some people who were like, I think this is dumb. But by the end of it, like, everyone really enjoyed it, and I feel like everyone learned more about each other. Like, so I think whether it's disc or we've done strengths finders.
Yes,
that's a good one too. I feel like it helps me as like the manager, owner, whatever, kind of help know like what everyone is. But I think if anything, it helps them, like the team, understand each other better.
And I think it reduces the amount of frustration, because when you have to work in an area that you're not good at, you at least know that it is not a strength of yours. And, either utilizing other people's strengths in that, or I think it just brings community together instead of assuming everybody is supposed to do things the same way,
right,
or getting frustrated that people do things differently than you, rather than, okay, how is this a strength? How can this person being created to do it this way it's the body of Christ. It's supposed to be very diverse.
So when you started, did you like take out a loan to buy equipment and all of that, or like how
we did? Okay. Yes. And so thankfully my husband is the CFO, and he has always been the money man. And, in the beginning that was really tough because I would, it was my full-time job and his very much part-time job.
Right.
And so I would kind of think, I really, really know what we need here. And then he's putting the numbers together.
Yeah.
And so just learning to fully respect that he knows what he's talking about, and vice versa.
Yeah.
For us to say, okay, maybe not now, but it is an important decision.
So you started with hiring, like, I guess your mom friend.
My mom friend, Alita. And then now we have 13 employees, which is really exciting because yes, our volume is great in town, but we have started a virtual program where we consult around the country with other clinics, like PBM clinics, who basically need protocol development, protocol. Basically, we just have consults with all of their patients to develop with the same equipment. You have this equipment in, California or wherever you are, but they don't either have the time. A lot of times the providers, they're doctors or PTs that want to do their doctor and PT work and
they
just
don't want to do
have
consults.
Exactly. Yeah. So even if they are capable of setting the equipment correctly or giving the right protocol, the volume is where you want to kind of outsource that. And so we just virtually have phone calls with patients and set them up with. That's another thing I got from, I think it was Good to Great. Have you read that book? Where I think it was that book where they said when you're trying to figure out where you're going as a business, which was tough for me because I don't have a business model for light therapy. Like there's not a lot of full, there's wellness companies that also have functional nutrition like we do and different modalities. But they said, figure out what you're the best in the world at or could be the best in the world at. And I felt like we were already really close to, reading all the research, staying ahead of the protocol world with light therapy because it changes all the time and not a lot of people are sitting down reading those articles. And so I feel like our team is good at, and also communicating with patients. What can you expect? What can you not expect? What can it do? What can it not do? Do we need another diagnosis or whatever? So our team can basically, they're scheduled for our Greenville people to come in and do a treatment. So the therapist might do, treatment for osteoarthritis on your knees and then see another patient and then she'll get on the phone with somebody across the country and do the same thing.
Like it sounds like you've almost found a way to not be limited by like a geographic.
Right. Like the brick and mortar thinking, do we expand? And that, not to say we won't do that, but it really was cool to think about from that book, what are we already doing really well that other people might benefit from.
Yeah.
Because the team has the capacity, and it also keeps us ahead of the research. So if we know we've got to be, up on the newest, latest protocols all the time, it is really fun to like constantly look for those and make sure that the settings are working.
I mean, what other teams are like, I guess, I don't know if you want to call it like offerings, like that you guys do?
Our services are pretty much light and laser therapy and functional nutrition. The functional nutrition department really does a lot of like women's hormone health, everything from, and men's. Men forget they have hormone health just as important as women. But just making sure that there's a lot of things your body will tell you that really could be aligning or could be the result of a deficiency. And people don't think about that. We think take a pill, take medication, but there's so many, everything from migraines to fatigue to stomach problems. So many of those things can be ruled out with better nutrition. And then we have a marriage and family counselor on the other side, Lisa Tyndall. She's amazing. And have you ever heard of direct primary care?
Yes. I see a DPC.
Oh, love it. So that we have Dr. Arthur Caputo with Intuitive Health. It is basically a concierge doctor that knows you, fully. You see the same person. It's affordable. I can't remember what his 3 A's are. It's like available, affordable, and I can't remember. But he really is, I can text him, call him. In fact, one of my children had definitely what I would call a medical emergency where I typically would have had to go, ED or urgent care or something and wait for a really long time. And honestly, all she needed was like immediate fluids and some, she just, it was a little scary, but she was 5 minutes. He's seeing her and she's got
fluids.
Fluids. And
that's awesome.
It's incredible. So, and also just having a doctor with our systems now, we all know on both sides that it's really, treat them, street them. That's just how it goes. And so having him available to always know deeply and care for, he'll sit with you for as long as he needs to fully be able to treat well and recommend non-invasive things all the way through heavy medication. Yeah. So that's another partner we have on the wellness partner side. Then we also have another medical doctor who's not a membership model. So Dr. Caputo is a membership model. You have to, you can be an individual member, family member for all of his services. He also has an aesthetics department. And then Dr. Raj Patel is more of emergency medicine, and he will basically walk you through if there's potentially negligent care or if you need assistance, needing a medical doctor to kind of put the pieces together for you. So he has lots of different services that are just, it's really affordable as well. So again, if it's not emergency, need to be in the hospital immediately, but you typically would need to go to the ED for a one-off, he's available for that too. And then we also have, it's called Awaken to Wholeness, and that's Renee Caputo, and she has this, basically it's a relaxation bed. So you put on, it's like a water bed with different wavelengths, or not, it's not light therapy, it's more sound therapy and water therapy, but that's nice to just have a relaxation option. And for people who may not physically be able to get into the light beds, it's easier to get onto that bed.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So all of this just spurred from your experience in Goldsboro.
Yes.
That's what I keep thinking about. Like how you got to this.
Crazy. But if you serve people and you realize there's a need that you don't have, like that's really essentially where it all came from. We started with the functional nutrition department with Noelle Smith, who was a laser therapist, but we're seeing autoimmune disorders. And autoimmune disorders don't always respond the way they should. Why? Because there's so much else really fueling it. So whereas most people are going to have a very typical response to the right protocol, if you are dealing with anything that's fueling that inflammation or it's spiking or, you're not really getting to the root of it, that was really important. And so we were seeing that with referrals, people with Lyme disease, people with celiac, IBS. What are we missing and how can we get those better diagnoses? And so that actually was what encouraged her to kind of really, she got her master's and went down one path and then found exactly what her calling was supposed to be. She's really great. So that's where the functional nutrition department came from, was just the need that we couldn't meet for people.
Okay. So you had patients coming in and they needed more than just light therapy.
And learning, the response to light therapy sometimes can be indicative of an autoimmune disorder if you respond differently. And so that was really neat to help people. You know what? Maybe you should get your rheumatoid factor checked, or maybe you should get some further testing for food intolerances or things like that. So being able to just go ahead and.
How do you think things have shifted with how insurance has become more expensive? Like, I don't know. I just get the sense that the way Americans interact with medical doctors and all these things is kind of shifting.
It is.
What have you guys seen?
Oh my goodness. Between the first couple of years and the last couple of years, nobody knew what light therapy was. And a lot of people just didn't trust anyone other than their medical doctor. But the medical doctors in this town are incredible. They're reading, they're learning new things, they understand, they refer to us. And so just having physicians that support you learning your own body, understanding what it is, instead of, I'm not really going to tell you anything, I'm going to just take this pill, don't even ask what it is. That mindset, I think, has shifted in medicine. And so now we work together. It's learning what your body can do. What are you taking a medication for? What are the side effects? Do you have headaches because it's a side effect of another medication? Or do you have headaches because there's a hormone imbalance, or because it's tension, or because it's inflammation? And so I think now the difference in, when I educate physicians, the difference in, I didn't hear about that in medical school 70 years ago. I hope you've learned something since then. But we've seen that. We've seen tons and tons. In fact, we have a lot of medical doctors as patients. And so they, I think, sometimes know even more than the rest of us. I know what's in this medicine, and I don't want to take it for myself. Thank God for medicine. It works for emergency care and for high pain. But I think the mindset shift from people, from younger generations and older generations, learning to advocate for themselves and know what is happening in their bodies instead of just trusting what somebody else told them, hopefully will continue to, for both sides,
Good. Well, looking back over your business, what would you say is one small thing that made a really big impact?
Honestly, a small thing is it's not a small thing. It's a big thing. COVID was, I think a lot of businesses probably had to pivot a little bit. So to be able to stay open and become more of a necessity, we actually had more physician referrals during that time because they were overloaded. And so, please let's start with an anti-inflammatory for a potential strain or sprain or whatever. And then our functional nutrition department, obviously, we were able to sell antiviral supplements and things that could help with and with no touch, right? And so that really grew our functional nutrition department. But I think it taught us, listen to the people, just serve your patients. I think that's we built on that from those days of, wait, this wasn't the business model. This doesn't work. This is what it was supposed to be, and now it looks like this. I think that was just a way that we all kind of learned, well, this is what they need and we can do it well. Let's pivot.
Yeah. And if you could go back in time and tell younger Kellie something, give her a piece of advice, what would you say?
Don't do it alone. If you have an issue, if you have a hurdle, if you're confused, if you don't think you're doing it well, it's because you're not supposed to be. Do it in community. There's somebody. I think I still struggle with that, but not nearly as much. Now I realize, don't hit the wall. Don't think that it's all your responsibility. I just think business owners always think that, especially in the beginning, it's nobody else's problem, or that's not their role, or, but that's, I think, also a bad example to your team to be too autonomous and I got it, I'll do it my way, I'll do it when I want, how I want. For whatever reason, whether you think you're not doing it well or you think you're doing it better than everybody else, it's just never good. So just community, being transparent and utilizing your team for their strengths, I think is something I wish I had done earlier, faster, better.
Is there a specific time you look back on and you're like, gosh, I wish I had pulled people in earlier for help?
I think I just keep thinking of so many times. You know, we, with our marketing department specifically, most recently, I thought, okay, how can I hire this new person that checks this box, this box, this box? You know how marketing is with a small company.
Yeah.
It really is like 20 jobs in one.
Mm-hmm.
And my team came to me and they said, I've always kind of wanted to do design work. I love events. I love this. And I thought, are you serious? Can we really do this within our team?
Yeah.
So we broke that role up into 5 and we all do the part that we love regarding marketing. And so giving them the space, I think, to also, what do you want to do more of? What do you not like? I remember one time with our admin team, I said, what's your least favorite task, you know, like in our check-in meeting?
Yeah.
What's your least favorite task? And one of them said, I hate vacuuming. It's the worst thing. You got to do it, but I don't like it. Literally 2 hours later, next check-in, what's your least favorite thing? What's your favorite thing? My favorite thing is vacuuming. I love to vacuum. It brings me joy. It brings me peace. I would rather vacuum. And I'm like, this is great.
Just switch.
Yes. It's funny.
That is funny. And outside of work, are there any hobbies or things that you like to do that kind of recharge your batteries?
I love to play fiddle. It's fun getting it back now and being able to play just for fun instead of for performance, learning a song that you got to get just right.
Yeah.
I'm really learning to just kind of enjoy it, playing either for worship or just jamming with friends. It fuels me a lot. I feel like I'm on top of the world when I get to actually spend time doing that, which is difficult, but with my sweet girls getting more and more independent, I'm having a little more time. So that's lovely.
Do any of your children play the fiddle?
They all grew up playing, and I can't wait to see which one. We'll come back to it because they all stopped.
Oh, gosh.
They are athletes, and so I have one who retired level 10 gymnast at 16. So now she's playing soccer, and I've got a lacrosse player, and then one in college doing like intramural stuff now.
Wow.
But they are good, and they can play, and they have great musical talent. But we'll see which
one.
if anybody picks it back up later in life. I don't know.
And if someone was coming to visit Eastern North Carolina for the first time, where would you take them?
I would take them after they got their free treatment at ATS. I would take them to see a sunset in Chocowinity. We share a river house on the Chocowinity Bay, and it is the most beautiful. You just can't capture it in a picture. That's our peaceful and fun place.
You know, Holden Ehlers, his episode will come out a little bit before yours. He said that his spot is a sunset in Grimesland.
Ooh, right around the corner. It
Yeah,
might
I know,
be
so y'all are like
it might
almost
be
the
our
same.
actual shared backyard that he's talking about because it's just this one big, it's great. It's like a big football field.
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons we bought that house. When they showed it to us, there were probably 14 kids using both yards to play football, and I thought, this is where I can raise my family. And the sunset's out because it's away from everything.
Yeah.
It's a little, add the water to it, so I like that. But it is beautiful out there. There's not as much just, light pollution and people around. I love Grimesland.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on,
Darren.
Kelly.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was great to hear more of your story because I feel like I knew what you did, but to get to hear more about like kind of the why behind it and how you guys serve people is awesome.
It's fun. I always say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
That's right.
That's what I do.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for tuning into this episode of Shop Talk with Radiate Prints. I'll see you next week.